Now, I know Machrotech, supposedly they fixed it and made this hammer time actually start doing damage again. Spellcraft and UMD, that's really good. Even if we don't use a rune arm, that's still really good. Plus 3 UMD. That's good. This, since we're using evasion, is like probably like the main reason that we would want to be in this tree at all, because this gives us a no-fail reflex save. These little fortification boosts, the way the fortification works in DDO, it's just so underwhelming. Like 15% fort. Okay, that's okay, but I kind of feel like it should be 100% fort every one of these. The way mobs can bypass fort, or like 50% maybe, so it's not super crazy, like 50, 100, 150, 200, so you get 200 stacking fort on top of your fort that you have already. You know what I mean? Like 15 doesn't seem like it's enough. I mean, that's my opinion. Right, that's what I'm saying. Like, fort doesn't seem to matter anyway. So, like, I don't really like that it's built into this. The fact that you gain the magical training feat, that's good. Because that means going into this, you could then have access to Fade Arc Illusionist if you wanted to. But I doubt people are using it like that. But what do I know? Here's concussive, so Sonic. I like Sonic better than Electric just because everything will take it. Ablative armor we don't have. So really we're only getting plus 3 heal amp and plus 15 fort. So these cores are just super underwhelming. This is the mantle. We don't care about that. Imbue die, we're not using Imbue die. If we were in a build that was, that would be great. We don't care about rune arm DCs. We do want, like, that would be good, but see if we can get Necro. No Necro, so we have to take Evoke. Armor no longer contributes to Arcane Spell Fail. That's awesome. I do love Radiant Prison. Radiant Prison is great. That is like one of the coolest things in this tree. This would allow me to use a Rune Arm, but I'm not going to use a Rune Arm. So probably this one would be the best. Reduce our spell cost. All right, that is the Epic Strike. And then this is the Hammer. And I don't see a DC associated with this. I see a DC associated with this, but we didn't upgrade it, so we don't have the stun on it. But this just looks like damage. 1d6 plus 6. That's really good damage. We'll see what the hitbox on it is if they actually fixed it. It wasn't working at all, so see if they can make it actually useful, or if it's somebody's asking me what sword it is. That is the Glamour of the Fey Twisted Rayella, the Frost Blade. Which I think comes from the Fey raid. Which I really like that raid. Probably because it's super easy. right? Like, I mean, it's just super easy. Yeah, yeah, it's a lot of fun. So far, my sound sounds okay. The gameplay frame, like I'm not dropping frames or anything like that. Everything looks good from my perspective when I look at my stream manager. Like I said, we're using like I'm sending 3 times the data to Twitch that I was. So we should actually get legit 1080, 60 frames a second now. And I blasted all of the settings in DDO onto the max. So I'm hoping that I'm hoping that you guys notice that it's smoother and looks better. I upgraded all of my gear. I noticed that my cable company had upgraded like the bandwidth, but my old machinery didn't take advantage of that bandwidth. So under the new stuff, when I did a speed test, it was like so much more. I was like, oh my God, this is great. So like I could actually send a lot more data to Twitch. All right, so here is that was the epic strike. So it was like 1600. Here's the hammer. 1700. Here's the epic strike. 2400. The problem with the hammer, God, it's got like a cooldown that's like 1.5 years. The cooldown for this epic strike is 10 seconds. 1800, and this cooldown is 15 seconds. Yeah, I mean, I just can't. It's too long, my opinion. I think if you needed this tree, like if you were on a build that needed this tree for Rune Arms, or if you were like a Warforged and you wanted to take advantage of some of the healing, or if you really love the fact that you can do maximum overdrive as your epic moment just as a flavor thing, I think that's great. But one of the issues that I hit with this epic strike is the hitbox. So what happens is the hitbox on this centers around me. So watch, I have that dude targeted and I can't even cast it because it says he's blocked. But if I cast it, it like centers right there around me. So I can't even like cast it on any of these. I have to get right next to them, which that's terrible. The hammer hits far away. That's really good, but like it's doing like 10% of the damage that it was doing. Like, look, that's the thing. It's centered on me up in the air. We'll hit that slot with the hammer. It did 1700. Prior to their changing it for update 66, that would have hit him for like 15,000. Like, that's how it used to be that good. So, huge issues. You know, it's not like I want to not like it, but right off the bat, like 10-second cooldown and the hitbox, like I have to get in the middle of them in order to hit them with it. As a squishy, I don't want to get anywhere near the mobs, so I don't want to have to get right next to the dude just to hit him with my epic strike. Right? This is not a melee. I want, like, the way that the hammer works, like that should be my epic strike right there. And it should be up every 6 seconds, and it should be 2 spell points. Like, that was my epic strike again. Yeah, it's great, but there's nothing around me to get hit by it. Alright, we're gonna get right next to this dude and hit him with it. 1800. 1800 and 1700. Yeah, I mean, It's just super underwhelming. Super, super underwhelming. I'm not going to mess around with the Mimic. He'd obliterate us, probably. Yeah, up close and personal Destiny. It's just too much. There is no spell DC on the hammers. It's just damage. But considering that they basically made it, you know, like it's doing basically like 20% of the damage that it used to do, I wouldn't do it. Not unless I needed to be in that tree for something. I just wouldn't. You know, I know people like the tree. I really, really love the fact that you can take Epic Mage armor and then blast it into that untyped armor buff that you can give out to everyone and it lasts in and out of quests. Like, that's phenomenal. All of the different drive enhancements are really cool. Maximum Overdrive is one of the coolest, next to Action Hero, I think, right? As far as cool names go for epic moments. It really sounds epic. It's cool. There's a lot of stuff in this tree that's cool. It's just not anything that's good for my build, nor would I say it's good for a caster unless you're doing a rune arm. Maybe like a rune arm using Warforged Sorcerer or Artificer would probably benefit from this. But then thing about armor class is like armor class really doesn't matter unless you have like over, I don't know what the starting number is for tanks, 400 or something like that. So for me with 100, yeah, all right, great. I could take Epic Mage armor and get this and it would probably add like 50, maybe 30, maybe 35 to 50 armor class, whatever it is. That would only get me to like, let's say at best 150. That's still nothing. Like I'm still super squishy. So it's not worth all the investment to get there. If I joined a group and there was somebody who was handing that out, yeah, sure, I'll take it. But me personally to do it, no. It's not worth it. And not unless I were like in a static and I was on like a buff bot bard, like a spell singer, I might consider taking that as just like a buff that I could add to the group. Or if I were like a super tanky Warforged, although, I mean, can you be super tanky with a rune arm? I don't know. So it just seems like, but it is cool.